I can remember the exact moment that Star Wars died for me. Let me put what I'm going to say in context. In 1977, I was a Star Wars fanatic. I lined up for Star Wars at a movie theater. The crowds were massive, and I saw Star Wars twice. In fact, a friend of mine that lived down the street from me saw Star Wars at least 10 times. I bought the soundtrack to Star Wars. I bought the plastic model kits for the X-Wing fighter and the Millennium Falcon. Afterwards, I put small flashlight light bulbs in the X-Wing fighter engines and at the rear of the Millennium Falcon to light them up at night. Needless to say, I enjoyed Star Wars. This was a space fantasy adventure with special effects that I had never seen before in my entire life. Now, I understand in science fiction there are certain liberties taken with the physics. It's called suspension of belief, particularly when the characters are in a spacecraft, there's artificial gravity. Virtually all science fiction TV shows and movies have some kind of artificial gravity. Star Trek had gravity plates. Quite convenient, I must say. And I thought the Expanse TV show did a really good job with explaining that for the most part they had to use their gravity boots to keep from floating around inside the spacecraft. However, their food on trays did not float away, but I'm sure there was something about that, maybe magnetic bowls or coffee cups or something like that. I don't remember. So, getting back to suspension of belief. In Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, when our heroes enter the asteroid field in the Millennium Falcon, there are large thumps, and an object drops down into the cargo area where repairs are being done. Han Solo says something like, "That wasn't a blaster, something hit us." Something to that effect, anyway. So, we saw gravity on the spacecraft, but it is not integral to the story, so it is not a big deal. Gravity is always a problem to portray in science fiction. Getting back to the Star Wars movies, the first Star Wars was fantastic. The second Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, was pretty good. And the third Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, well, with the Ewoks in there acting cute, it kind of detracted from the story a little for me. Then Star Wars Episode 1. Never work with children or animals is all I can say. Episode 2, I don't remember too much about that as it was relatively unremarkable. And Episode 3, I don't remember at all. To me, the first 3 movies were the best. So, Star Wars Episode 7, I can't remember the name of it. It was okay. I always like to see the Star Wars universe, but the movie wasn't really too memorable for me. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Fortunately, I saw the movie free on television. I did not go to see it in a movie theater. In The Last Jedi, where the bombers are flying really slow toward the enemy fleet, whoever the enemy is, I don't remember, there are a couple of things that stood out to me in the scene. In the special effects, all the ships seemed too clean, not used like in the original movie. Bad guys on their ship look in a periscope, as if they were in a submarine, like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea from the 1960s. I laughed at that scene. I also thought, well, before I get to that, granted there was a periscope scene in The Empire Strikes Back where the AT-ATs land on the frozen ice planet. But, at least that kind of looked like a targeting screen rather than a video screen in front of them. It might have had some useful information in it because they were going to blow up the force field generator or something like that. So anyway, in The Last Jedi, where the bombers are flying really slow toward the enemy fleet, did the rebels, or whoever they are now, not learn anything previously when attacking large vessels that small attack craft are better than slow-moving larger craft? One ship gets through the defenses, looks like it is going to drop bombs on the enemy ship. Seriously, drop bombs. My suspension of belief was damaged. A person falls off a ladder. Okay, there's gravity in space again. The bomb release mechanism was on a shelf. The person kicks a ladder, and the bomb release button falls towards her. She grabs it, presses the button, all the bombs fall onto the enemy ship, destroying it. Bombs in space. Bombs in space. What the... I could not believe it. That suspension of belief was too far for me to go. That was the exact moment that Star Wars died for me. I changed the channel on the television after my eyes rolled skyward so hard it hurt my optic nerves. Now, evidently later in the movie, Luke Skywalker appeared as an old man, but I can't comment on that because I actually did not see that scene. Anyway, that's the exact moment Star Wars died for me. Thanks for watching.